Lebanon is no stranger to political strife, and this past week has witnessed a new wave of unrest with the largest protests in more than a decade. So what are the people upset about? Initially, protests kicked off last Thursday over proposed austerity measures, including a social media tax, but they soon expanded to include calls for an end to corruption, government inaction, and for better basic rights. On Monday, the fifth day of the protest, the cabinet approved Prime Minister Saad Hariri's reforms, including the halving of former and current politicians' salaries and the forming of an anti-corruption panel. And on Thursday, President Michel Aoun called for dialogue with the protesters. But the people basically responded with too little, too late, calling for a general strike and calling on the entire political class to resign. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken to the streets in a move that mimics recent regional protests in Iraq and Egypt. They're using the same slogans of the Arab Spring, the sweeping mass protests that Lebanon managed to avoid at the time, calling for the fall of the regime. With a rapidly declining economy over the past decade, rising living costs, and a failing electricity infrastructure, people are saying they're fed up. The World Bank says another major problem facing the country is the economic and social impact of the Syrian crisis. Up to 1.5 million Syrians, about a quarter of the Lebanese population, have been seeking refuge in Lebanon since 2011. The last time the country saw such massive demonstrations was during the Cedar Revolution in 2005. Those protests were against the Syrian occupation of Lebanon and were triggered by the assassination of then Prime Minister Rafik Hariri. They eventually saw the withdrawal of Syrian forces from the country. Like the Cedar Revolution, the current protests have been peaceful and have even adopted a festive atmosphere, complete with music, dancing, and even a live DJ. In a rare move, the people of all religions and sects have come together in a united front against the multi-sectarian political system that rules the country.